Namaste everyone. Welcome to this special live stream on the occasion of Adi Guru Shankaracharya's Jayanti. If you can look at me properly, if you can listen to me properly, please put in yes in the chat box. Still can't hear me? Okay, I think the sound is clear now. Yes, let's go ahead. Thank you. Let's start with a small peace invocation. If you are a member of the ACS, you know how it goes, the drill, what it is, and what all the things that we cover. But today we are doing something special. We have opened this for everyone, and we will be covering some interesting topics. And whatever questions you have, please keep it till the end. I'll make sure to answer them. I started getting some questions now. Let's not break the flow. All the questions, we will keep it for the end. Let's start with a peace invocation. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from untruth to truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. With this, let's start the stream. And before I take you through the content and the presentation that I have for you today, where we will explore the essence of Sanatana Dharma, the contributions of Adi Guru Shankaracharya, and the essence of Hinduism, and how it can be very relevant for the world today, especially with the wars and terrorism and all the things that are happening all around us. That's wisdom of unity and oneness is extremely relevant. We will explore that today. But briefly, I will talk about Adi Shankara. Now, 1,000 years ago, when Shankaracharya was born, the Sanatana Dharma was broken, it was fragmented, and the essence of Hinduism, right, was lost. It was divided and subdivided, and there were a lot of quarrels within, and different school of Buddhism, Jainism, and adulterated form of, Sanatana Dharma. These misconceptions had taken up the society. When everything was, seeming to be lost, then came Adi Shankara, a young boy, who changed everything, who revived Sanatana Dharma. He walked across India 4 times on his feet, and he re-established Sanatana Dharma, and more importantly, he revived the ancient Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta was always the essence of Sanatana Dharma, but at that time when Shankaracharya had come on this planet, this understanding was lost in the mainstream society. People were busy with different things, and the core philosophy, the core essence of life was lost. So this is what he revived. And this is a very, very important wisdom. It is said, Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. It means starting from God Himself and with Shankaracharya in the middle and whoever my Acharya is right now, this is one unbroken lineage. There are different schools of thought within Sanatana Dharma, there are with different philosophies. But this primary school of Advaita Vedanta is an unbroken lineage. We can literally trace back the lineage of Advaita Vedanta. Shankaracharya's guru was Govinda Bhagavat Padacharya. His guru was Sri Gauda Padacharya. His guru was Shukamuni. His father and his guru was Sri Veda Vyasa. So, like this, for thousands and thousands of years, this unbroken lineage continued. And 1,000 years ago, when this lineage was about to get distorted and disturbed, Shankaracharya came, revived it, and preserved the essence of Vedanta. Today, whatever understanding we have about Vedanta, whatever do we do with ACS, with the Advaita Conscious Society, and whatever different teachers, different ashrams, different people do across the world in the name of Advaita Vedanta is only possible because of Adi Guru Shankaracharya. Without his work, the essence of life would have been lost for humanity. So, he has done incredible things for our country, for the world, because this is not just restricted to a particular religion. This is not strictly a religious teaching per se. Although this comes from the system of Sanatana Dharma, this is a universal teaching. You know, most of you are from across the world, but still you resonate with this, right? Because this is the science of life. So let's explore this today and let's understand what Vedanta is about and what Sanatana Dharma is about. Uh, there are some comments that are coming in Hindi. I can speak Hindi, but I cannot read it very well. So if you can keep it in English, it's better. So if you can look at the slide that I just shared, if it is clear to you, please put in yes in the chat box. So yes, is it visible for all of you? Got it. Now let's start with the vision of the Advaita Conscious Society. With our channel, with our community, ACS, what are we trying to achieve? Let's explore this briefly. Now, the problem that we are trying to solve in this world through the work that we are doing is unconsciousness. Like we firmly believe at ACS that unconsciousness is the root of all problems. At the individual level, it manifests as stress, anxiety, regret, jealousy, etc. In the global level, it manifests as wars, as poverty, as terrorism, etc. Unconsciousness is the root of all problems. Lack of clarity, abundance, fulfillment, everything stems from unconsciousness. So our mission with the Advaita Conscious Society is to help more than 1 billion individuals across the world consciously create their ideal life, through the ancient wisdom of Vedanta. Vedanta is the science of consciousness, and consciousness is simply the antidote for unconsciousness. And our bigger vision with all this is to enable the consciousness movement. We want to do whatever it is possible from our part to raise the consciousness of the planet. And this enables a new conscious world which is abundant, which is fulfilled, which is free from suffering. So, this is our goal at ACS. And these are the ACS codes. This is what we live our lives by. We follow this every single day. If you are a member at ACS, you are very familiar with this, but let's take others through this. So, the first code is consciousness. I am the infinite consciousness. I'm the infinite bliss, I'm limitless and unbound. This is the primary code, right? And all of these principles, frameworks, codes that we follow at ACS, and the profound framework of conscious creation, it fundamentally comes from Vedanta. You know, it is our exploration of Vedanta. And the second code is responsibility, which states my life is my responsibility. I'm where I am because of me, right? If we understand the laws of karma, this code is very clear. The third code is acceptance. I accept this moment as it is. This moment is eternal and inevitable. I surrender to it completely. The third code is acceptance that we covered, and the fourth code is authenticity. I follow my own path. I do not compare, I do not compete. I create and I contribute. The fifth code is adaptability. I'm flexible and I adapt to live my ideal life. I understand that everything may not go according to my plan. I accept this and I redirect, and I allow for the infinite intelligence to work through me and for me. Number six, love. I radiate love towards all. Now, if you're listening to this code for the first time, just understand this. Just living your life by these codes as much as possible, just going through these codes every single day and trying to live by them as much as possible itself can bring a profound shift in your life, right? We explore this in a very deep way, and we have other frameworks and systems to basically integrate it into our swabhava within ACS. But for now, all of you can make this a part of your life as much as you can. And apart from this, we focus on conscious creation. Conscious creation is a fundamentally unique philosophy that is very unique to us at ACS, which focuses on understanding the reality through the wisdom of Vedanta. And Vedanta, simply, if we have to summarize it, Advaita Vedanta talks about two things. It talks about oneness in all, which means all of us and everything is one in its essence. And it also speaks about the infinitude of self. It states, in our essence, we are infinite. We are not the body, which is limited. We are also not the mind, which is limited, but we are something which is unlimited, right? What that something is the exploration for our life. And recognizing and living this is the ultimate goal for human life, as per Vedanta. Now, this again is based on the conscious creation codex. There are 9 pillars that we focus on, which we will not go into today because today's focus is different. But ultimately, conscious creation is about creating the ideal life of true fulfillment and holistic abundance through the foundational understanding of reality and the self, through the wisdom of Vedanta. This is our goal. This is how I could think of making the ancient wisdom of Vedanta more accessible, more approachable, and more practical for the modern world, for us professionals, entrepreneurs, and seekers who have the life in this material world to manage. How this ancient wisdom can help, and how can we elevate our life, how can we live a life of holistic abundance in all areas of our life: health, wealth, relationships, inner peace, spiritual grounding. So how can all areas of our life evolve beautifully? That is conscious creation. So with this, you know let's come to today's topic, which is about the essence of Sanatana Dharma and Adi Guru Shankaracharya. So let's begin with the source, right? The source to Sanatana Dharma, the source for all of these things that we are speaking about today, and also the source for what Guru Shankaracharya taught us, are the Vedas. Vedas are called as Shrutis, the sounds of truth. And these Vedas are timeless in nature. You know, this is not any particular book that is written down per se, although now it can be available in the written form. Vedas fundamentally mean the sounds of truth. It is said that when the rishis who went to the deep levels within consciousness, and when they came to that profound place of oneness, they literally heard this truth. That is why it is called as the sounds of truth. Vedas are shrutis. And this was passed on from generation to generation so that the rest of us can benefit from it. So these are the Vedas. Whatever we are speaking of as Advaita Vedanta today, it fundamentally comes from Vedas. And then there are something called as Smritis. Within Sanatana Dharma, the main source of knowledge are the Vedas, but the secondary source are the Smritis, which are not the sounds of truth, but which comes from a particular place because of a particular context. What was required at that point in time was given to us by a certain enlightened being. So these are Smritis. Example, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is looked at as a Smriti. Smriti means what has been remembered, right? Bhagavad Gita was composed by what has been remembered. So these are the Smritis. And then there are Puranas. Puranas are the stories, and it is about the history and the stories of different deities, different gods, and different happenings in the ancient times. So Purana literally means old. And then comes the Upanishads. Upanishads are nothing but the Vedas. Upanishads are a part of the Vedas, and Upanishads are the philosophical essence, philosophical conclusions of the Vedas. So, Upanishads are the primary texts or the primary truths that speak about God, about the nature of reality, and about the nature of self. And Advaita Vedanta is a direct exploration of Upanishads. Vedanta is nothing but the study of Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Brahma Sutras all put together. And like I mentioned, a lineage of Guru Shishya Parampara continued for thousands and thousands of years. This wisdom was passed on from generation to generation through an unbroken lineage of Guru Shishya Parampara. And that is what we must remember today. And that is what we must show gratitude for and acknowledge here, because of which we are here discussing this and understanding these deep concepts. And when we look at Hinduism, when we look at Sanatana Dharma, there are two primary schools. Of course, Sanatana Dharma is a vast ecosystem. It covering that will take a lot of time, but today we will briefly understand the schools of Sanatana Dharma. There are heterodox schools and orthodox schools. Heterodox schools are those schools of Sanatana Dharma which do not accept Vedas as the source of truth. Example, Buddhism, Jainism, Charvakas, Ajivikas, and so on. And within these schools, there are again certain schools which are atheistic in nature. Example, Charvakas and Ajivikas, these are atheists who do not believe in the existence of God and who do not believe that there is anything fundamental to life or something like that. They are materialists. And in the umbrella of Sanatana Dharma, no school of thought was rejected. They were debated, of course. Adi Guru Shankaracharya himself debated almost, as far as I remember, more than 110 schools of thought at that time. He systematically dismantled their arguments, and through logic and reasoning, not by force. Sanatana Dharma never used force to convert someone. It never used pressure or bribes or any kind of physical force to convert someone. But what Sanatana Dharma did, what Shankaracharya did, was he used logic and reason and common sense to look at reality, and he sat with debates with these different schools of thought, from Buddhism to Jainism and to other branches and other schools of Hinduism. It is said that he debated more than 110 schools at that time, defeating all of them and establishing Advaita Vedanta as the profound truth, which is the highest perspective on reality, just through reason and logic, not by any other means. And these are simply some of the examples. It keeps going on like this. There are many, many sub schools and many schools within this. We will not explore Buddhism, Jainism again, but as you all know, Buddhism is based on the teachings and the principles of Lord Buddha, and Jainism is again a different school based on different philosophies. But the common thread among these philosophies, these schools of thought, is that they do not accept the Vedas. And then there are orthodox schools who accept the Vedas as the source of truth, as a pramana. And within the orthodox schools is Sankhya, and Kapila Muni, he is, a prominent figure associated with Sankhya. Then Yoga, Patanjali Maharshi is a prominent figure, a rishi who is associated with yoga. And Nyaya, Gautama Muni is a figure here. Nyaya is basically logic. Nyaya sutras are based on pure logic, and they use logic and the foundational truths and explanations of the Vedas to explore this reality. And then there is Vaisheshika, the Kanada Muni and Kanada Sutras are the basis of the Vaisheshika philosophy. And then there is Purva Mimamsa of Gemini. Purva Mimamsa is again based on the Vedas, but they focus on ritualistic aspects, right? The ritualistic aspects of the Vedas. But at the end comes Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta, which primarily focuses on the philosophical exploration of the nature of reality. So, these are all the schools that we looked at, and at the end comes Vedanta. Within Vedanta, there are again some sub schools, some different philosophers and different teachers either misinterpret or interpret the teachings of the Upanishads in different ways. So they become sub schools apart from Advaita Vedanta. But again, what we must focus on is that there is one unbroken lineage in Advaita Vedanta. If we take up the pure philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, it has been passed on to us through an unbroken lineage. Whereas if we explore some of the other schools, we cannot trace back the lineage. At some point, some teacher, some prominent figure reinterpreted the Upanishads based on their understanding, and because of that, another sampradaya, another philosophy, another school of thought formed. But when it comes to Advaita Vedanta, like I said, from Shankaracharya to Gaudapadacharya to Shukamuni, the lineage continues. So that is very important for us to remember. Then there is, apart from Advaita, there is Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita, Shuddha Advaita, and so on. These are other sub schools. But let's focus on Advaita Vedanta, because that is what our focus is in this channel at the Advaita Conscious Society, and Shankaracharya's works are the primary foundation for Advaita Vedanta. Adi Guru Shankaracharya, said to be lived at around 8th century CE, he revived Sanatana Dharma. Like I said, at that time, the essence of Sanatana Dharma was lost. He basically worked hard to revive it and gave a new light to the culture. And not only this, I cannot even cover what he has done in one slide. It is so much. These are some of the Bhashya Granthas that he has written. from the Brahma Sutra Bhashya to Ishavasya Upanishad, Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. So all these Upanishads were systematically commented upon and summarized and explained to us by Adi Guru Shankaracharya. Not only this, he composed many Prakarana Granthas. These are canonical texts, his independent works, which explores again the nature of reality from different perspectives. There is Viveka Chudamani, Aparoksha Anubhuti, Atma Bodha, Tattva Bodha. The list keeps going on and on. Different explorations of reality, all based on the fundamental truth of Advaita Vedanta. But he simply tried to explain the truth in different ways. Since the reality is so out of reach for the human mind, we need different angles, different perspectives, and different kinds of teachings to understand it thoroughly. So these are all different texts that he composed. These are the Prakarana Granthas. Not only this, he was a devotional being. He was extremely devotional. He has composed you know, numerous works which are devotional works. Sri Ganesha, Pancharatnam, and Saundarya Lahari, Shivananda Lahari. There's so many works that he has composed that it is not even possible to put it all together in one single page. So, and more importantly, he did all of this in a matter of 2 decades. He, left the earth at almost 32 years of age. So, and he started his work when he was very, very young, at when he was 16 to 18 years of age. So imagine his potential, imagine his power at that young age to do so much. And like I said, the credit for what Hinduism is today, what Sanatana Dharma is today, goes to Shankaracharya. Without him, I don't know if what we have today, we could have retained it. Even the Kumbh Mela that happened a few months ago, right? Where almost from every part of the world people visited. Even the reason for that, even the cause for that was Adi Guru Shankaracharya. So take any stotra, take any god, deity, take anything for that matter. There is at some level the contribution of Adi Guru Shankaracharya. So this is all about Shankaracharya's work in particular. Now, let's come to Vedanta, and that too Advaita Vedanta. And after this, we will also explore a particular special work by Adi Guru Shankaracharya, and we will talk about how we can understand the nature of reality, the nature of consciousness today. So, if you're watching this, I want you to take something away from this live stream. You should get some perspective on reality from today. Of course, these are very deep concepts. It takes time for us to digest this, but at least there needs to be some shift in you, and your life should be somehow better from today. So let's do that through the wisdom of Adi Shankara. And Advaita Vedanta, the foundational texts for Advaita Vedanta are called Prasthanatrayi. And these are the 3 foundational texts which a student of Advaita Vedanta will study. First, there are Upanishads. Upanishads are numerous. There are so many Upanishads, and whenever to create our YouTube videos, whenever I'm researching on a certain topic, whenever I'm exploring certain things, I come up with new names of new Upanishads that I didn't even know. Recently, when I was researching for a video, I forgot that name. There was an Upanishad called Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, and apart from that, there were some Upanishads that the names I had not even heard of. So there are innumerable number of Upanishads. But among all that, there are 10 main Upanishads. These are called the major Upanishads. not they are not called major for any particular reason other than Adi Guru Shankaracharya commented upon them, right? He wrote his commentaries upon them. And these are the 10 foundational Upanishads: Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Aiteria, Taittiriya, Brihadaranyaka, and Chandogya. So these are the 10 Upanishads upon which Shankaracharya gave elaborate commentaries upon, right? These became the major Upanishads, and this is what a student of Advaita Vedanta will generally study. So the 10 Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, and Bhagavad Gita and its commentary by Shankaracharya. These are the focus for a student of Vedanta. And there are certain foundational concepts within Advaita Vedanta which every one of us must understand. This is Vedanta 101. At first, there is Brahman, which is the universal consciousness. There are different names. It is called Sat, it is called Chit, it is called Ananda, it is called Brahma or Brahman or Atman. So, all of these words means the same thing in Advaita Vedanta. And then there is Atman. Atman is also Brahman. It is literally the same. But Atman is indicative of self. You know, the Atman and the Brahman are one and the same. This is the primary doctrine of Advaita Vedanta, which means the self is infinite in nature. And then there is karma, which is again a very popular concept, but there is a lot of depth to this. Karma is fundamentally cause and effect. For every action that we perform, there is a reaction. This reaction might happen immediately, or it might happen sometime in the future, or maybe a few thousands year, and maybe a few thousand years ago, after which we are experiencing a different life altogether. So karma is this. Karma comes from the Sanskrit word kri, which means action. And then dharma. Dharma is again multidimensional. There is a lot of depth to this, but dharma is about truth, it is about morality, it is about responsibility, and dharma is also about purpose. It is about our place in this world. And then there is samsara. Samsara is the world, right? This physical world of birth and death. So Vedanta says we are born and we die. We are born and we die. This endless cycle continues as long as we are identified with the body. So this is samsara. And samsara causes dukkha. Dukkha means suffering. Life will never go according to our plan, right? No matter how much we plan, 100% of life may not go according to our plan. And because of our identification with the body, since the body is limited, since the body at some point will deteriorate and die, this causes suffering within us. So the suffering is dukkha. But then there is jnana. Jnana is, it is especially points to transcendental knowledge, not just regular knowledge, but transcendental knowledge. This jnana is the antidote for dukkha. It is the medicine for suffering. And what happens with jnana is moksha. Moksha is enlightenment or liberation. Different cultures have different names for this. Buddhism calls this nirvana. In Christianity, this is enlightenment, and so on. So these are some of the foundational concepts: Brahman, Atman, Karma, Dharma, Samsara, Dukkha, Jnana, and Moksha. So if we have to come to the essence again, it all comes down to this. All of us are one in essence, and our self is infinite in its essence. We are not the body, we are not the mind, but we are the infinite consciousness. This is Advaita Vedanta. Shankaracharya time and again said, Brahma Satya Jagat Vitya Jivo Brahmaivanapara. There is one fundamental reality that we call Brahman or God or consciousness. Apart from that, everything else is unreal, or it is simply an appearance or a simulation. So that was the idea. And the ultimate goal of human life As per Advaita Vedanta, as per Shankaracharya, is enlightenment or moksha, which means absolute cessation of suffering and attainment of absolute bliss. If we think about it, this is what all of us are looking for, right? What do we want from life? Absolute cessation of suffering, attainment of absolute bliss. These are the only two things that we actually want. We seek this through different means, but ultimately it all comes down to this. And Vedanta promises that the exploration of this wisdom will give it to us. And with this, let's come to Eka Shloki. And after this, whatever questions you have, I will take them one by one. So this is the Eka Shloki of Adi Guru Shankaracharya. Again, this was composed by Shankaracharya himself. And here he tries to explain the entire essence of Vedanta, the entire essence of Advaita Vedanta in a single verse. Eka Shloki means a single verse. I will recite it right now in Sanskrit, and after that I will translate it for you and I will break it down for you. And it goes like this. This is the Eka Shloki. Kim Jyotistava Bhanumana me Ratrau Pradipadikum Syadevam Ravideepa Darshana Vidhau Kim Jyoti Rakyahi me Chakshustasya Nimilanadi Samaye Kim Dhir Diyo Darshane Kim Tatraha Matau Bhavan Paramakam Kim Tatraha Matau Bhavan Paramakam Jyotistadasmi Prabho. Right? This is a single verse. But the meaning of this is very, very profound. And here Shankaracharya tries to explain the essence of reality in this one verse. So, as I will explain this to you right now, please pay a lot of attention. And as we talk about this, just look at your own experience. Don't just conceptually understand this, but intuitively recognize this and experientially try to understand this, because Vedanta and consciousness is not a theoretical understanding, but it is an intuitive one. We are discussing the essence of life here. So, it should, your intuition should actually resonate with this. And it will resonate with this if you pay attention. So, here the translation will go like this. And this verse is simply a conversation, a dialogue between a guru and a shishya, a guru and a student. And Kim Jyotistava Bhanumana Hanime, right? It starts from here. Here the Guru is asking, what provides you light? A simple question. What is that light which makes everything visible? What is that which provides you light? That is the question. As I'm talking about this, as I'm explaining this for you, think about this logically, intuitively, and try to take this in. To this, the student answers, by the day it is the sun, and by the night it is a lamp. So it is pretty simple. In the morning, the light of the sun illuminates the world. At night, the light of a lamp illuminates the space through which everything is visible. Now, Guru goes even deeper and asks a further question. He says, what is the light that sees these lights? Right? Yes, you are saying that the sunlight illuminates the world, but then what light enables you to see this world? To which the student answers, the eye. My eyes enable me to see, right? Whether it is sunlight, whether it is the lamp, ultimately our eyes should be functional for us to see the world. So the student sees the eye. And next the Guru goes even deeper. He says, what is the light that illuminates the eye itself? Right? What is the light that illuminates the eye? Now, it might be a tricky question. So, here, think about it in this way. At night, when we go to sleep, we close our eyes, right? But still, we dream different dreams. Still, something is in the works. Still, we are seeing different things within the mind, within ourselves, even though the eyes are closed, even though there is no sunlight, even though there is no lamp. So, what is that? For that, the student answers the intellect, right? There is buddhi, there is the intelligence within us associated with our identity or the ego, which is at play even during the night when we go to sleep, because of which we imagine different things, we visualize different things. So we see different things even when there is no sunlight. So this is an even another layer deeper. And to this, the Guru answer questions again. So, what is that which knows the intellect, or what is that which illumines the intellect itself? Now, this is where there is a jump. This is not directly accessible for us because we are so identified with the intellect and the ego. But if we explore this intuitively, deeply through meditation, through contemplation, this truth will begin to become obvious for us. The intellect itself and our ego itself, if we examine it, there is something beyond it that is illuminating it, that is giving life to it, and that is enabling it. So, what is that? The Guru asks. And the student answers, it is the I, the consciousness, the true essence of me. And Guru says, therefore, you are the light of the lights, right? Such a profound statement. You are the light of the lights. And finally, the student affirms, yes, truly, I am that. I realize that I am that light of the lights. So, if we go through an intellectual, this is not taken as a belief system or faith. This is an intellectual, logical, and an intuitive exploration of reality, right? Here, the Guru is not asking the student, I'm telling you something, you may not experience it, just believe me, just blindly believe me. That is not what is happening in Advaita Vedanta. In Advaita Vedanta, a Guru asks the student to explore his own nature through his intellect, through his awareness, and through systematic processes, and naturally through common sense and through deep observation and self inquiry, the student realizes the truth. So there is no dogma here, there is no belief system here, and it is pure logic if we look at it. Of course, the last step might not be obvious for us yet, but even that will become obvious to us as we go deeper and deeper. So it goes like this: what provides you with the light? By the day, the sun gives me light. By the night, a lamp gives me light, says the student. Guru asks, what is the light that sees these lights? And the student says, my eyes see these lights. And the Guru says, what is the light that illuminates the eye? Or what is behind the eye, which keeps working even at night when you close your eyes? That is the intellect, along with the ego, says the student. And the Guru says, what is it that knows the intellect or illumines the intellect itself? What is there beyond the intellect itself? That is the true I, right? That is I, says the student. And Guru says, therefore, you are the light of the lights. You provide the light to all the lights. And finally, the student affirms, truly, I am that. Jyotis tadasmi Prabho. I am that light of the lights. So this was the profound Eka Shloki. I hope you found some clarity here. And many people, many teachers even, I've seen them misinterpreting certain concepts, which takes us away from the fundamental truth of Advaita Vedanta. When different teachings within the Upanishads say there is a light which illumines the sun itself, sun might be a huge source of light for us, but there is a light beyond the sun which illumines the sun itself. Our mind has a tendency to search for that light outside of us. But what Upanishads mean is that there is within you that consciousness. Within that consciousness, the sun itself is appearing, isn't it? Within your consciousness, within your awareness, the world appears. Within your consciousness, the sun itself appears. So your consciousness is fundamental. There is no your or mine, but that consciousness is fundamental. And that consciousness is within which the sun itself appears and the entire universe appears. So, that is the logic of Vedanta. Go within, not outside. This is the process of self inquiry. At this point, if you have any questions regarding this or anything else, you can keep them coming and I will make sure to answer them. And I hope all of this was valuable for you. Thank you, Anusha. There were some questions in the beginning. I will see. Uh, so, one question is, I've been watching you for quite some time and I've got a question. Why did Brahman made this world, and if he is a perfect, all complete entity? As per Advaita Vedanta, no one made this world as such. The Brahman is described as the infinite existence. So, the existence is infinite in its nature. All probabilities, all potentialities exist within Brahman. It is the infinite potential. But from our perspective, it's like we are in a dream right now. Just like how we go to sleep, we dream different dreams, right? And within the dream, we experience a reality which appears to be real. And if we ask who created this dream world, the answer comes down to it is we ourselves, because of our ignorance of what is real and what is not. We experience a dream world which appears to be real or when it is unreal. Just like this, Vedanta says even this world, physical reality, is an unreal experience because of your ignorance. And if you are liberated from the ego, you will see this world for what it is. You will not see duality. You will not see object A, object B, object C like this. You will see one essence in all. You will see that Brahman in everything. And that Brahman is not an object, it is that consciousness itself, which is appearing dualistically for us. Yes, Brahman is a witness of everything. Brahman is the witness itself, right? Just like even there is an interesting explanation for the witness. When you think of it, when you were very young, and when you think about your experience right now, and everywhere in middle, there is one thing that is common, right? Sometimes we feel this. We feel that I just remember me being very, very young and playing. It's although, just like it was a few days ago, but it has been a decade. There is something within us which remains constant, which never grows or diminishes, which is always constant. And if we think about it, it is intuitive. We will understand this. There is some that is why some old people say, I don't feel old. I feel like it's just been some time and my entire life has passed. So this is that witness, that eternal witness within us, which is who we are in our essence. But because of the psychological thought process, we are stuck at the psychological level, and we do not experience the witness and we do not see the witness. So another question is, I have a doubt regarding the path to choose for enlightenment. Is only Advaita or Buddhist path, because Advaita is based on karma, bhakti, and jnana yoga is for path for self-realization. So there are different paths within Sanatana Dharma. About Buddhism, I do not want to comment because I have not studied it in great detail. So I will not comment on that. But within Sanatana Dharma, there are various paths. Advaita Vedanta is one path, but for me, it is the highest path, because if you explore this, you will understand it. And Advaita Vedanta is not an alternative to devotion. Like I explained you, uh, like like I was talking to you earlier, Shankaracharya himself was extremely devotional. So devotion is a big part of Advaita Vedanta. So for me, Advaita Vedanta makes a lot of sense, and it is my path. You can explore different paths briefly, and whatever resonates with you the most, you can go deeper and deeper, but also be careful. There are some misleading paths, right? There are certain philosophies which are very misleading, and you can get stuck also. So be careful also. So Sita Vishwanath says, beautiful explanation. Peaceful today being Shankara Jayanti. Feel blessed to know about Jagat Guru through your talk. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Anusha asks, path of self-realization taken by Buddha is different from Advaita. Yes, Buddhism talks about anatma. As far as I understand, they say that there is nothing beyond a point, and there is a concept of interdependence or something. Basically, what they say is there is nothing called as Atman or Brahman. How Advaita Vedanta talks about this holistic unity and there is infinite consciousness, that is what is denied by Buddhism. So fundamentally, they are different. And nirvana, as per Buddha, literally means annihilation. You are totally. It is almost like destruction or annihilation. That is the perspective of Buddhism. For me, it sounds negative, or the perspective is negative compared to Advaita Vedanta, where it talks about Purnam. Vedanta says when we become enlightened, when we are liberated, we become full, we become complete. So it's not annihilation, but it is about recognizing our nature as fullness or completeness as per Advaita Vedanta. As per Buddhism, it is the annihilation of the accumulated data. Ultimately, I feel intuitively they are talking about the same thing. But to be honest, Advaita Vedanta's perspective makes more sense to me, and I resonated, with it the most. And one another thing which makes sense from the perspective of Advaita Vedanta is the logic of morality. Now, every religion says, be kind to others, do good to others, help your neighbors, and so on. But the logic of it is missing in many religions. Even Buddhism cannot explain this. But Advaita Vedanta can clearly explain it, right? If we need to be good to each other because we are all one in essence. If we do bad things to each other, then we are fundamentally going away from the truth. It's like at a deeper level, we are harming ourselves. So that profound understanding of holistic unity comes from Advaita Vedanta. As far as I know, it does not come from any other teaching of philosophy in such a profound way. Uh, RKV says ancient scriptures offer many paths for seeking enlightenment. All paths lead to one universal consciousness. Yes, in a way, yes, there are many paths and there are many schools of thought. Ultimately, and like all the Upanishads say, ultimately goal, the absolute goal for each and every one of us is the same thing. We all are going to that place itself. But I feel, although there are many paths to the ultimate truth, there are paths which are direct, there are schools of thought which gives a higher perspective on reality, right? So I feel Advaita Vedanta is a higher perspective on reality. Uh, just explain the difference between Brahman and Atman. There is no difference. Atman and Brahman are fundamentally one and the same as per Advaita Vedanta. That is why it is Advaita. It is non-duality. There is one reality which is fundamental, which is the only truth as per Advaita Vedanta. There are no two things. A difference will come if there are two things, right? So, as per Advaita Vedanta, Atman and Brahman are one and the same. So, that is that. Yes, Bhagavad Gita talks about four paths, four fundamental paths of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raj Yoga. Devotion, selfless service, Jnana, which is what we are doing, right? Intellectual inquiry, and then Raj Yoga through practices like pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So, different paths. Certain questions are in Hindi. I'm unable to read it. Sorry. So I think most are covered. Yes. Thank you for embracing Shankara Jayanti through gratitude by remembering his great contribution to the world beyond religion. It's a boon for human race. Thank you. Yes, it's his contribution is immense, and the more we get into it, right, our life will simply. I'm not just talking about the spiritual dimensions. I'm confidently talking about even your material, so-called material life. When you understand Advaita Vedanta and when you perceive this world, the amount of confidence, the amount of clarity and purpose you will get on reality is incredible. You will achieve professional success, you will achieve business success, whatever you are doing, your life will transform because fundamentally you will get rid of all these negative emotions of jealousy, comparison, competition, etc., and you will move towards love and fulfillment and joy, to the higher states in consciousness. So, through which all areas of your life will naturally evolve: relationships, health, wealth, etc. So, and fundamentally, there is no split between material and spiritual, right? As per Advaita Vedanta, it is all one reality. So, embracing this can transform all aspects of our life. So, with that thought, uh, I'll just take one more question and then we will end with a sankalpa. So, if you have stayed so far, let's end with a intention to embrace this and see some clarity in our life. So Sita Vishwanath says, Brahman and God in form, as we do idol worship in the temples like Ganapati, Vishnu, Devi, are the same. Please clarify. So fundamentally, they are one and the same. There are no two things as per Vedanta, right? As per Advaita Vedanta, they're fundamentally the same. But if we have to talk about it from a lower perspective, from our perspective, we can understand it in this way. Advaita Vedanta says that infinite consciousness or Brahman, along with Maya, along with the creative potential, you know, Maya is nothing but the time space reality. And as per Advaita Vedanta, only consciousness is, and the time space reality itself is an illusion of the mind, of the ego. But then, since we are stuck in this dimension right now, in this limited dimension as this individual ego, now imagine that infinite consciousness, which is beyond all forms, beyond all dimensions, beyond all boundaries, how it will appear to us who are within this three dimensional experience of time space reality. So, when we see that infinite consciousness from a limited perspective, and since the mind cannot perceive that infinity, so it creates a form and it sort of experiences that infinite God in a form. And even that form depends on our tendencies. Some people resonate with Ganapati, some people resonate with Shiva. For me it is Narayana, so it is my personal god. So I perceive it in that way, but it is all the same fundamentally. But from our perspective, based on our tendencies, we can worship that infinite consciousness in any form. That is the idea. Since that infinite consciousness or Brahman is the infinite potential, that is the Parabrahma, that is the essence of reality, it has the potential to appear to us in any form based on our nature. It does not have any limitations to it, right? So it has the potential to appear to us in any form. In fact, we were having an interesting debate. I think there was an Islamic scholar who started commenting on one of our videos. He said Advaita Vedanta is very profound and I accept most of what it says, but then why do you Hindus worship idols? Islam is against worshipping idols, right? So why if Brahman is the infinite consciousness, it is beyond all forms. That is what even Islam says, the Allah, and that concept. But then why do you people worship idols, he was asking. But the logic is this: even saying that infinite consciousness cannot take a form is like putting a limitation on that infinity, isn't it? If if Brahman is truly infinite, and if it is the infinite potential, and if it is the infinite power, then at the same time it has the potential to appear to us in any form. So that is the form of Devi, Shakti, Shiva, etc. From our perspective, it is for our benefit, to help us, to guide us, and to take care of us. So that's how we can perceive the God with form from the perspective of Advaita Vedanta. So with this, I think we've covered many questions, and I hope whatever we have covered so far was valuable for you. And simply just close your eyes for now and take this intention. First of all, let's thank Adi Guru Shankaracharya and the entire lineage of Guru Shishya Parampara for this light, for this wisdom, for everything that it has given to us and to our country. So feel that gratitude, and then simply create an intention that through this wisdom, may my life unfold in a beautiful way from tomorrow. Through this wisdom, may I gain clarity, purpose, and fulfillment in my life. And through this wisdom and through the grace of Shankaracharya, may I attain my highest goal in this life. So you can open your eyes and stay connected to this as much as you can. And if you want to explore Vedanta further, if you want to explore conscious creation further, also make sure to register for our live workshop, which we will have from time to time. So the YouTube live stream, we cannot do it always. So we do the live conscious creation model workshop, and I have just shared the link of it in the chat. So you can go to that link if you wish to join us at the Advaita Conscious Society, or if you want to explore conscious creation and understand what it is, you can register for this workshop. And this is free, and we will cover what conscious creation is, and we will introduce ACS to you there. So I hope this was valuable for you, and the link is in the chat for you, and I will see you inside. Shivoham.